Yeah, listen, I know the main focus of all of this is going to end up being on James Harden and Joel Embiid and how they play together, as it should be, because it's tantalizing to think about what that can mean offensively for the Sixers and for the rest of the league. But let's talk a little bit about a guy we've forgotten a little bit about because he hasn't played this year and the impact he can have on the Nets. And for me, it mainly relates to his perimeter defense, which we're not going to touch screen, but also his pace and the easy offense that he creates. And this is what Ben Simmons does. And this is something the Brooklyn Nets do not have in their offense. Now, this ball is coming off the glass. And as you can see, Philadelphia, really, there's no reason to think that this is going to somehow relate to fast break basketball. You've got three guys in the paint, and then you've got one wing who's not really a guy typically that runs the floor, and Furkan Korkmaz out on the wing, and you've got two Celtics back on defense. But watch what Ben Simmons does. His size, his length, his speed, ball comes off, heads up the floor, stop it right there. You take a look. 1 second had passed. Ben Simmons was already at half court, and it leads to a layup at the other end in a situation that it really shouldn't. Here, once again, another one. The ball's going to come off the rim, and again, you've got 5 Philadelphia 76ers, all of whom are below the foul line. Everybody is in the paint. You've got 3 Washington Wizards back. How does this lead to a fast break basket? Well, one reason. Ben Simmons' speed and his vision and his ability to execute passes. Again, he has taken one dribble to this point, and you look up, and there's only 1 second off the shot clock as he's approaching half court with 4 defenders back. But if you're an offensive player and you know you run the floor, Ben Simmons is absolutely going to be able to reward you. He's got great vision, he can execute any pass, and he takes advantage of backpedaling defenders. This is something the Nets didn't really have in their offense because as great as James Harden is, he doesn't play with a lot of pace offensively. Kyrie Irving is more of a finisher. Kevin Durant as well. Now you've got an initiator to your break offensively, and you've got a top 5 defensive player in the league to give you all that versatility. So I think the Nets actually, once they have time with Ben Simmons, they're going to benefit offensively in a lot of ways because people forget he does have a lot of value despite all this baggage. He's got to prove to people now he really wants to play basketball, that he loves it, and he's committed to trying to bring a championship to Brooklyn.
Absolutely. Legs, thanks so much. Let's go to the defensive side, though, because since his first season in 2017, Ben Simmons, he has been an excellent defender. He's held opponents to just 42% from the field as the closest defender. That's the 3rd best in the NBA behind Giannis and Anthony Davis. So bringing back the full panel now, I'm curious, RJ, starting with you, how much better does Ben Simmons make the Brooklyn Nets?
Well, what he brings to the table is special. It's unique, as we see highlights of Montrezl Harrell. What he does is he adds to the pace, and that's one thing that James Harden was, okay at because he can create for so many people, but it was typically at the pace that he liked to go. Ben Simmons is a guy, and we know that you didn't care about the Brooklyn Nets because offensively they were historic, but defensively they were subpar. Their defense got better in the postseason, but ultimately when you add Ben Simmons to this mix, if he just plays defense, he can be a roll and replace guy when Kevin Durant has the ball, all the things. But ultimately, we forget that there are still some flaws in his game that were exposed in the last postseason. So now, listen, I'm being gentle here, right? So now there's going to be, it's up to Steve Nash and the Brooklyn Nets to kind of hide that or hope that he's been getting the help that he's needed or that he's asked for so that he can get kind of out of the yips or whatever it is that prevents him from shooting.
See, what we have to realize is, what I want to know is, what type of style are the Nets going to want to play? We know Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving are isolation-type players. Like, are they going to want to run and get out and transition and let Ben be the facilitator? Like, how are they going to use them? And by the way, I mean, Steve Nash hasn't shown us that he's the best coach in the world. You know what I mean? He's still learning on the fly as well. So it's a lot to factor in. But at the end of the day, it comes down to my question. Does Ben Simmons love the game of basketball? And he went from one strong market in Philly to another strong market in New York. And if he doesn't live up to expectations, he can expect those same boos that he heard in Philly that he will hear in New York.
Really quickly, Perk, I want to ask you a question. Let's not talk about the boos. Let's talk about Kyrie and KD. They are let's say their personalities are unique and a little bit intense. How will he be able to handle that That's my question. My question is Ben Simmons. Can he handle being in a locker room with Kyrie and with Kevin Durant if he wasn't able to handle it with Joel?
Well, that's one of the things we just heard from Ramona Shelburne, is that he's going to continue working with his therapist. He's going to continue having those conversations and getting that outside help, because you're right. Going back into a locker room, especially after the period that we've seen him be out, is going to be interesting to see how his game has changed, has adapted. Tim Legler, you're with us now. I am curious what you think about how his game is going to translate in Brooklyn.
Well, I think a couple of things. I think if they're smart, they're going to utilize Ben Simmons a lot more as a screen guy for Kyrie and KD in a half-court offense, where he can then slide middle. So as those guys come off and they draw two, that ball comes back to somebody. Like in Golden State, it gets reversed to Draymond Green. He then operates his dribble handoff game, or he picks you apart with back cuts. Ben Simmons is a guy that now moving toward the rim after that screen and catching it in that foul line area. You've gotten the ball to a guy that's 6'10". He's going toward the basket, which obviously he's more comfortable, and he's got unbelievable vision. I think they need to incorporate him more like that. Obviously use him if he takes it off the glass, let him push it, let Kyrie and KD run, and let him be the initiator in transition. In your half-court sets, he's not going to be much of a factor other than as a guy that can occasionally get downhill and finish, but I think primarily as a guy that can screen or be a weak side cutter when KD and Kyrie draw multiple defenders. He can slash and cut, get into the lane, and operate. I think the biggest benefit by far, though, is going to be the fact that he takes so much pressure off of Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving to have to guard the best perimeter players every night on these other teams. Ben Simmons can guard anyone on the floor, and he's going to take that luxury now for Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving, and he's going to be the sacrificial lamb in a lot of ways.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN Plus right now.